Hey guys, so yes, I'm back here finally with another video. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I just keep taking really long breaks in between videos. I'm just really busy with work and I'm just quite lazy once I'm home. So sorry I kind of look crappy right now. It's just Saturday night and I think I worked all 6 days. So yeah, I have tomorrow off obviously. So yeah, I just kind of feel like getting these videos out of the way. I'm going to be recording 2 videos just to kind of split up parts because I really got a lot of stuff over the time. I don't know how I just do that. I just keep getting more stuff. It's basically going to put categories of stuff. So as you could tell by the title, it's going to be this kind of stuff that I'm showing you. So I hope you watch both videos. So hopefully this won't take long and hopefully I'll show everything along the way. Just a few things. I actually went to Florida for like 10 days or so. It was really cool. Another thing, I actually finally got a bass. So yeah, it's just really a starter kind of a bass. It's just a Squier Fender Jazz bass. I actually have a bass amp as well. And then this is just my regular guitar amp. My bass amp is pretty decent. The original one I got was even worse. That came with this bass, but I was managed to swap it out. But overall, it's pretty cool. I mainly use my guitar amp on the bass because it sounds heavier. But I actually have to get these fixed. The string height is actually pretty high, so it's a little harder to play. So I just got to get these fixed eventually. Anyway, let's show you these finds here. First, I'm just going to show you a record that I got. It was just $1. It's one of Marvin Gaye's biggest albums. But actually, it's just the cover because the record inside is the wrong record. It's Marvin Gaye's other album called Midnight Love. So okay, right here I'm going to be just showing you, there's one weird record. This band here was actually really big in the 70s, but here's their debut album from like 1968. It's Fleetwood Mac's debut. This is way before Fleetwood Mac was Fleetwood Mac. This is basically Electric Blues. I have yet to listen to it. It's a reissue. So it was great to have this, and it's 22 bucks. Okay, next here, for $5 I got a copy of Led Zeppelin. Like, this is probably my 5th or 6th copy. But I think this is actually original pressing finally. So great album. Okay, right here I got another copy of American Woman by the Guess Who. This is actually a pressing from France. And I thought that was really cool to get. Okay, right here for $4 I got another copy of Black Sabbath's debut. The cover's a little beat up, but I think this is actually an original pressing. So, really glad to get that. Okay, right here, it's kind of be going in more categories now. One of the bands that I first got into when I really got into music was the band Metallica. And they're coming out with a new album in a few months. I can't wait to check it out, even though I'm more into their 80s stuff. So, but I'll be definitely checking that album out. So I actually, if you saw one of my videos, I finally got their debut album on vinyl called Kill 'Em All. So I decided to get more of their stuff. So right here I got a reissue of Ride the Lightning. This is actually the turning point for Metallica when they really got more of an artsy, you could say, sound. Their debut album was more hardcore punk, heavy metal, thrash metal, but this is more of them doing straight up heavy metal and more doing like epic stuff like From Whom the Bell Tolled and Fade to Black, which is a little slower, but it's like really heavy. So this one's really when they became Metallica. And I actually kind of lazy with records, so I wanted to get some CDs. This CD is the same album, but this was actually from my original collection. I gave it to my dad when I started to collect Beatles a lot. Wanted the CD back because I'm getting into Metallica again. He said it was alright because he's not that big on this album. So I'm glad to get that. Okay, right here, as I said, Metallica. So I got, of course, Master Puppets, their 3rd album. This is just really a classic album, 1986. You could see this. The cover, in my opinion, looks like an album from like the 2000s. Like, really, it looks timeless. And this was actually recorded in 85. This was unfortunately Cliff Burton's last album, the bassist, because he unfortunately passed away. But yeah, classic album. This album has a really classic sound. Like, this is one probably considered, even the sticker here, it says too, the best heavy metal album of all time. Even critics and fans out of the heavy metal industry back then said this was a classic. So honestly, I think everyone should check out this album. This is really when they went up. Like I said, Ride the Lightning, they went up. This actually sounds completely timeless. Ride the Lightning sound a little like the 80s, but this is like classic. You wouldn't even know it's from the 80s. So highly recommend people to check this out. Okay, right here, continue with Metallica, I got Injustice for All. This is the first album that introduced Jason Newsted, if that's how you pronounce his last name. Yeah. I couldn't actually find a reissue of this, so I decided to finally get a copy online. It was actually really hard for me to get a cheap copy. I think this could be a bootleg pressing of it. It says Brazil, but like the printing on here looks kind of bad. But it's actually a double album. I didn't actually know that originally, but here, this is on white vinyl, and it's on the Sweet Vertigo label. So that's really cool. It even has some marble, if you could see any hint on there. So yeah, this is really cool on the turntable. As I said, it's a double album, but I'm just going to show one record to save time. So yeah, this album, once again, is another classic Metallica album, 1988. Again, it sounds timeless, like Master of Puppets, but this almost sounds like it could be in the 90s, like early-ish 90s. It has a little dated feel to it, but it's still a great album. Like, the best songs on here is one, The Shortest Straw and Harvester of Sorrow, but Blackened and Injustice for All are great songs too. So, highly recommend this one as well. Okay, as I said with CDs, I got a copy of the album on CD. When I saw this in the store, I decided to get it. It was like probably $5. So, okay, the last Metallica record I'm going to show you is one I was debating on getting, but I decided to get it. It's Garage Inc. But this one was actually $46. Most of them I see was around $50, so that's kind of weird, but I was grateful for that. It's actually an album that came out in '98, but the reason I got it is because it's like a mixed thing on here. It actually has new recordings on here from '98, but then it also has some tracks from like the '80s and some from around '91 and stuff like that. So I mainly got this for like the 80s stuff. Like from 84, it has Am I Evil. Also has some of their Garage Days 87 stuff, which I believe was recorded before the Injustice for All sessions, because it kept getting delayed on when they were going to record that album. So they recorded some other stuff on here, like Helpless, which is a cool song. But the song that I like always knew on here is Bread Fan, and then their cover of Queen's Stone Cold Crazy. I think Bread Fan was recorded in '88. It was a single with one of the songs from Injustice for All. And Stone Cold Crazy was recorded in '90, I think. But those are like the two that I always knew off this album. My dad had a mixtape of this, of some of the songs on here. Yeah, this is really cool. It's a triple vinyl set, so it's pretty big. But I'll just show you one record here. So, okay, that was it for Metallica. I'm going to show you one more 80s metal kind of a band, which I always knew, but I wasn't really too sure if I wanted to get anything by them. But it's Slayer. So I got their debut album here. I always knew the name, but I don't really know much about this band. But I figured I'd just try the debut album out. I don't really know the sound or anything yet for this album. But it was also on red vinyl, which was cool. This was like $25. So decided to get it. Okay, and the last Slayer record's actually the reason why I wanted to collect them. It's their most popular one right here. Here's the title. I don't really know how to pronounce it. But yeah, this is probably the one that made them into the mainstream. This one came out in '86, and I think it's a pretty timeless record for the time. It's really heavy stuff. They actually have a heavier sound than Metallica. Yeah, basically the best songs on here is Angel of Death and Raining Blood, obviously. Everyone probably knows Raining Blood from Guitar Hero. But yeah, I actually played most of the album and I was a little disappointed by it. A lot of the songs actually sound the same, where it's kind of like really fast, upbeat stuff. But for the majority album, it kind of sounds the same, so I was a little disappointed with that. But Angel of Death's probably my favorite song on here, so at least check out the song Angel of Death and Raining Blood. So, alright guys, as you can tell by the title of this video, I got Joan Jett. Now, if you saw, I actually saw her in concert July 14th at DTE in Michigan. It was really, really cool. She actually played with Heart and Cheap Trick. My dad and I got there when Cheap Trick was ending, and then Joan Jett was next and Heart was last. It was a pretty great show. Basically like my first real show, because other than that I just saw a few Beatles tribute bands. I'm actually going to be seeing Joan again September 2nd at a festival that's pretty close to where I live, so I'll be making videos of that. First, I want to show you a record by a different band that I actually discovered because of Joan Jett. But here, the record's called The Jam in the City. This is a reissue of their debut. I actually was watching an interview with Joan Jett from the late 70s, and there was another guy sitting next to her, this guy, called Paul Weller or something like that. Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I decided to check out his band. And this band is really, really good. This is from 1977, I think, this record. They're basically, they're mod revival. So it's basically like the 70s punk rock, hard rock, but infused with like 60s mod, like early Who and the Kinks and Small Faces, stuff like that. So I highly recommend this. I still have to play the whole album, but I think they're a really good band. So, alright guys, the rest of the video is going to be Joan Jett, but I hope you stick around for it. The first record I got from Joan Jett was actually a reissue of her first album, Bad Reputation. It was actually used for $13, but it's just some standard reissue. I just, out of nowhere, I just got a kick for Joan Jett. Me and Mr. Mayo Joe is a big fan of Joan Jett. When I saw this record, I didn't get it at first, but then I decided to get it, and I'm glad I did. I haven't really listened to it because, like I said, I'm kind of lazy with records. I'm just too tired from work to put any on for most of the time. But I know some of her songs, like Bad Reputation, obviously. It's a classic. Yeah, and ever since I gotten this record, I like looked her up and found out about the Runaways and everything. I barely knew a lot about her. I just knew her name and some of her main hits. And I knew that she got into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year. So I'm glad I looked her up. Going to be trying to get most of her stuff now. Okay, speaking of, like I said, about the Runaways, when I was in Florida, I got this magazine called The History of Rock 1976. Surprisingly, doesn't really mention the Runaways, even though their first album came out this year. But there is two photos. On the back, it kind of shows Joan here. And then there's like an ad for a concert for like the Runaways right here. So I thought that was cool. Okay, I'm actually going to be showing you one single I have for Joan Jett. I got it recently for $4. I got it with a picture sleeve. I love rock and roll. And you don't know what you got. I like this photo here. But yeah, I probably won't be playing this single that much because I honestly heard I Love Rock and Roll like probably a million times, especially on Guitar Hero and everything. So I basically know that song, and it's kind of just overplayed to me, but still a classic. And I was glad to get a single by her, especially a picture sleeve. Okay, here we go. We're going to be starting this stuff. I only have one Runaways album here. And for 25 bucks, I got the Runaways Live. This is some random issue that came out. It's a live show from July 19th, 1976. I just think that's just really cool, and I sometimes find it hard to believe that they were the age they were, and they had a sound that sounded like they were in their 20s. They were all around like 16, 17, 18 years old at the time doing the music. Okay, here's something I got recently too. This is Joan Jett the first sessions. This is basically the first sessions with Kenny Laguna. This was recorded in August 1979. Even though it says the first sessions, the songs like You Don't Own Me and Don't Abuse Me were actually recorded in March 79. I think Joan did that with some Sex Pistols members. But this was the first sessions with their new producer. So yeah, I thought that was cool, and I'm glad I got it because it is on a split colored vinyl. So, okay, right here, I was so glad to get this. A newer record store I found this record, and it was 16 bucks. I got Joan Jett's debut, and this is actually an original pressing because it's just called Joan Jett. It doesn't call Bad Reputation. And it was just cool because they used to sell these out of the back of Kenny Laguna's vehicle after shows. So I thought that was really cool. I found an original. It's actually pretty hard for me to find Joan Jett now that I'm looking for her. I don't know if I passed her up in the past. Okay, right here I got her second album, or the first one with the Black Hearts. It's I Love Rock and Roll. This is just some reissue. So yeah, sorry guys, I'm not really talking a lot. Like I said, I didn't really hear a lot of her music. I just heard snippets and stuff. Obviously this says I Love Rock and Roll, Clemson and Clover, stuff like that. You don't know what you got. Actually, I just realized the song You Don't Know What You've Got is on both of these albums. So, okay, the next album I got is her third album called Album. This has the song Everyday People. Joan Jett actually did that live when I saw her as the encore, so that's pretty cool. Okay, the next one I got is Glorious Results of a Misspent Youth. Yeah, guys, sorry I'm showing mainly reissues here. Like I said, it's hard for me to find her stuff. I really like this label here. She's like really, really cool. Check, look at that. Yeah, this actually has a new version of Cherry Bomb. So, okay, right here, I actually saw this one before and passed it up, and then now I'm basically getting whatever Joan Jett I could find. So I refound it and got it this time. For $10, I got the Light of Day soundtrack. This is actually, I think, an original, and it's in the string still. Yeah, I actually saw this movie on YouTube because I'm just really obsessed with Joan right now. So I saw that movie on YouTube. To be honest, I wasn't surprised it was going to be kind of like a decent film. Me though, personally, because I'm 20, I'm not that big on like movies in the 80s and before. I don't know, maybe it's just my age, but this one was no different really. So it was an alright movie, but I think Joan Jett did a really good performance on her acting. It's like her first film and she's already acting pretty good, so I was impressed. It has some cool songs like Light of the Day, This Means War. So this has some songs that Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox played, because the band that they play in the movie actually plays the songs, I think. So they have those, and then there's just some other soundtrack stuff. So I thought that was cool. Alright, here for $6, I actually got Up Your Alley. This is from '88. Yeah, this is a really cool photo here. And it has the song that's probably my favorite Joan Jett song as of now, even though I haven't heard a lot. But it has the song I Hate Myself for Loving You. I really like that song. She did a great job of it live when I saw her. It also has a song on here, I Want to Be Your Dog, which is originally the Stooges. Okay, right here, this record, originally the album came out around '93. And then it was issued again, I think in the late 90s or early 2000s or something like that. But now it's finally made its way on the vinyl. And it's Joan Jett Flashback. Yeah, I decided to get this. I was pretty glad because it's on this really sweet colored vinyl. Double album, but I'll just show you one. It's on really nice marbled vinyl. This actually came with a CD. Unfortunately, I don't have it because it's in my car. This is probably the most, well, it is the most played Joan Jett album because I play CDs in the car almost every day. I listened to probably this album a couple times already, most of the songs. Now, honestly, it's pretty good, but it's not like perfect. There's some songs I still need to grow on. Yeah, I think it's cool. It's just, I don't think it's probably the most perfect thing for me to listen to because I don't really know a lot of her songs. It's kind of just like a rarities album or just odds and ends stuff on here. The first song, Real Wild Child, which actually was recorded after this first was released, is actually a song that I always knew on TV, and I was wondering, like, who the hell is that doing the song? And then the first time I played the CD, I'm like, what? And I love that song. I think it's a really good song. It has the song Hide and Seek, which I kind of get tired with it a little bit, that song, but I really like Joan's vocals on there. Obviously, there's Light of the Day, which is the same from that movie. She even does a version of Rebel Rebel by David Bowie. I only heard David Bowie's version probably once, and I like Joan's version way better. Her vocals are great. She has a song Black Leather, which I'm honestly impressed that Joan could do some cool rapping. I mean, I don't respect the genre that much, but she actually sounds honestly good. She's not a rapper, but she doesn't sound any different from famous rappers, so I respect her for that. And they have a version, I love Rock and Roll, which is from like 79. She does it with some of the Sex Pistols members. I actually prefer that version. Love the version on here, which is really raw, really cool. I love that version. Okay, I think this is it. My last record for the video and last Joan Jett. I was actually glad to get this for the collection. It's her more recent album called Unvarnished. Still have yet to play it, but she played some of these songs when I saw her live. Honestly, when I first heard the song Any Weather, I think it was probably a live version she did on TV, on YouTube, around the time the song came out. I didn't really care for it too much lyrically, but I liked the beat and everything of the song. And then she did it live, and I thought it was great. And then I was watching a video of like an interview, and it was playing the song throughout the video, and it could have been the studio version, I think. But I really liked it. So I wonder what version is going to be on here. It says the 606 version. I actually really love that song. It's probably right up there with all the songs I heard. And then she also does the song TMI, which I thought was kind of a decent song when she played it live. I mean, she's been doing music since mid-70s, so shouldn't be surprised if an artist is getting a little down on their chart for writing songs. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to be showing you a lot of Beatles and 60s and other stuff like that. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you later.